Okay, so there have been a lot of people that have been coming to me and asking me about my 3 separate audio tracks that I usually have on my recordings if I were to send my footage to someone, or just generally how my audio is mixed, and I don't want to have to go through the process of explaining it every time that someone asks, because it's kind of a complicated process, but once you get it, it's pretty easy to use and everything like that. I basically use this app right here. It's called Voicemeeter. This is the potato version of Voicemeeter, and it looks super complicated, but once you get to know everything, you basically know everything about the program. You can do really cool stuff like add reverb to your microphone and stuff like that. It's really cool. And you can like play things through your microphone like this. But it's super complicated to set up, so that's basically what I'm going to be showing you guys today if you have access to this video. And since I didn't want to like reset all my settings just for the sake of doing this recording, I have a virtual box thingy set up. It's basically like a separate computer where I can do all these kinds of things and stuff on it. God, this was kind of difficult to set up, and I know it's a square, but you're gonna have to cut me some slack because 720p, believe it or not, was actually lagging on not my entire computer, but like it was lagging the virtual box itself. So if you don't have any sound things installed already, then you're going to have to go to this website, which is I'll leave this link in the description. It's vb-audio.com. And then go to audio apps, and you'll be greeted with this website, and you're going to have to download 2 things off of this VB audio site. You're going to have to download virtual audio cable, so you can, if you're using Windows, you can just hit the Windows thing right here, and don't install anything yet, because you're going to have to go over to Potato, and you're going to have to scroll down and hit the install button, and it's going to download the installer instead of the zip package. I find it easier to just use the install thing instead. And I have OBS installed to show the process of like the 3 audio tracks and stuff like that. Okay, so once the download is complete, you're going to have this Voicemeeter 8 set up, and then you're going to have VB cable driver pack 43 or whatever it is. And then I'm gonna extract this. Here because why not? And then, yeah, she'd have this folder. What you're going to want to do is you're going to install the cable first. So it's going to be VB cable setup underscore 60 x64 exe. When you do this, though, it's going to be... So if I were to open this and then hit install driver, it's going to deny me access. What you're going to want to do is you're going to right click on it, and then you're going to run this as an administrator, and it's going to bring you this user account control thing, and then you can install the driver. And it's going to ask you to trust the guy who made it. Installation complete. And then after that, we can probably just close out of this. We need to install the Voicemeeter setup itself. So I'm going to do the same thing and run as administrator and accept the user account control, and then hit install, and then it's going to install it. And then once it's done with the installation, you can close out of this, and it's going to bring you another annoying thank you message. You can just delete all this stuff because we won't need it. Now we're going to have to restart the system in order for everything to work properly. So I'm going to do that. I hope I typed that right. No, I didn't. I restarted the system, and now we're basically going to have to, before we do anything, we're going to have to set up our Voicemeeter preferences. So I'm going to go down here and search for Voicemeeter, and you're probably going to get banana first, but I'm going to use potato. Oh my gosh, the application's huge. It's a pretty big application, so it's kind of not beneficial for me to use a monitor like this. But before I touch anything in here, I'm going to have to go to control panel as well. And we're going to get that up, and we're going to go to hardware and sound, and then go to sound, and it's going to bring up this menu. Now, what it's going to show you here is like all your playback devices, and then the recording tab is going to show you everything that would be recording, like microphones and stuff like that. So for playback, you're going to select the cable input, VB-audio virtual cable, and you're going to set it as default. And that's basically it for that at the moment. I'm going to not close control panel. I'm just going to keep it minimized because I'm probably going to go back to it later for the separate audio tracks thing. So first thing you want to do when you open the Voicemeeter potato application is you see this red select main output A1. So you're going to click A1 here, and then you're basically going to select your headphones, like wherever your sound is going. So not the cable input, you're going to, let's say it's speakers, high definition audio, right? And then it'll stop blinking, and then over here, all the way over here, where it says hardware input 1 on this first slot over here, we're going to click on this, and then we're going to select our microphone. It's probably not going to detect it because I'm using the virtual audio box thing, but it doesn't matter. And then for the second hardware input here, we're going to click on this and select cable output. I suggest using WDM because it doesn't have like latency or anything like that, because KS usually tends to not work for me, and MME usually has latency, but it has a higher quality sound, so it's like more processed by Windows and stuff like that. Okay, so next I'm basically going to mess with the microphone and like those kind of settings and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go back to the hardware input and sound, and I'm going to go to the recording tab, and you see this is selected as a default, and that's not exactly what I want. For me personally, I like using Voicemeeter VAIO 3 output as my default microphone device, so I'm going to set that. And to make sure that this corresponds through Voicemeeter, I'm going to go over to the first panel over here, because remember, this one's the microphone. I can actually right click on it and rename it. I'm just going to put microphone, even though it doesn't work. And then I'm going to, all the way down here where it says B1, I'm going to deselect that and then select B3 instead. And then I can go back into the sound settings, go to properties, and then just rename this microphone Voicemeeter so I can keep track of it. And then hit apply, and then hit OK. We can use the cable input in the playback tab in the sound settings. We can probably just rename those like just headphones. Okay, so I managed to get my my Logitech webcam to use as a microphone for this, just for this example, even though it's not really gonna work that well, but it'll do the job, showing an input signal to signify that the microphone's working. And once you plug in once you select your microphone in the first slot over here and you hear yourself and you don't want to hear yourself, deselect A1. That's right here where my mouse is. And because remember, since it's in A1, everything that goes to A1 is going to your headphones or your speakers or wherever it is, like whatever you selected in this first thing when we opened up Voicemeeter for the first time. Okay, so next I'm going to set up the multiple audio tracks, and I'm going to be using Discord and a YouTube video as an example, as well as my microphone audio as an example. So I'm going to go to just browser Discord, and I'm going to sign in with my other account to use as an example. So once you launch Discord, basically, you're going to want to go to user settings down here, and then go to voice and video, and I'm going to allow these things just so that it works. And you're going to see input device and output device. Now, if you're not familiar with the terms and stuff, input device is obviously your microphone, and then your output device would be like your headphones or your speakers or wherever your sound is going. So for input device, since if you remember, I set my microphone to B3 down here, we're going to select it accordingly. So B3 in the microphone, if I were to go to control panel sound and then go to recording, it would be giving me a signal down here. This is the microphone, and it's not really working correctly, but this is the microphone. So we could, if we wanted to, just set this as the default and then exit out of that. So for Discord, the input device would be, it wouldn't say default because I just set it to default, so it updates automatically. It would be microphone Voicemeeter VB-audio 3, because remember, that's what we named it. So we can click on that, and then it would give me the sound. And then for output device, I would select I want Discord audio to go to a separate place instead of just my regular desktop audio. So like if I were playing a YouTube video, for example, and I were in a call with my friends on Discord, the audio would go to the same place. and I don't really want that, so I want to do it separately. But if you don't want to do it separately, you can just have the output device go to the VB-audio virtual cable. But the way that I'm setting this up, I'm also going to have this go to VIO 3 input, which is right here. And then everything else should be fine from there. So I'm going to set an example here, right? I'm going to go into one of my many servers. Okay, so I have Discord open on my, I have two instances of Discord open. I have my alt account and then I have my regular account. And basically, so since we're using this, so my account would be the audio that is coming through and would go to this third panel over here. So if I were to unmute on Discord and just start speaking, you see the audio is going to VIO 3 instead of regular, instead of it going to here, which would be the cable output. So I'm going to give a better example of how this would work. So I'm going to head over to youtube.com and we're going to play a video, and I'm going to be talking through the Discord. So I will show how that is, how the audio is separated, and it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so I have some audio going up here, and as you can see, if we were to tab back into the Voicemeeter, this is the sound of this. This is the sound of the audio, like the music that I have going here. Because if I were to mute this, actually, let me get like a better. See the panel? If I were to mute this, it would stop. But if I were to turn it back on, it would go. That's how we know that this is this audio that's here is going through the default Voicemeeter. It's going through the cable output. That's how we know. And that cable output is the default, which is what most browsers use anyways. But if I were to keep this music going and then unmute on Discord and start talking, we have the audio going, and then you see over here, it's this tiny thing over here that is showing that the Discord audio is going. So if I were to keep talking and then I were to mute the audio from Discord over here, I would no longer be able to hear the Discord audio, but I'd still be able to hear the music that is going in the background. And I can do vice versa. I would be able to mute the music and then unmute the Discord audio. That's just my demonstration of how the two audio is like separate. I hope that made sense. That was a little bit confusing on my end, but hopefully in editing I can make that at least make a little bit more sense. Okay. So at this point, you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with the separate audio tracks? And that's actually what I'm about to get to. If you don't do any like streaming or recording or anything like that, then you probably won't need to look at this. And if you just wanted your audio separate, then that's basically the tutorial for it. And I can actually, if I wanted to go the extra mile and do this, I could go over to where it says VIO 3, because remember, this is where our Discord audio is going. I would right click on it and just rename it Discord audio, and then hit enter, and then that's it. I'm going to set up the current the 3 audio tracks for OBS, so you can have 3 separate audio tracks when you record. So I'm going to open OBS real quick. I'm not really going to record anything currently. Oh my gosh, my mic is peaking because the Logitech webcam is not very good. So I have OBS set on the default settings. I didn't actually like once you install OBS, it would bring up a pop-up that says, hey, would you want to optimize OBS for recording or for streaming or both, or just the virtual camera? And I hit cancel, so it just gave me the default thing. So I've got desktop audio, microphone audio, and I put a display capture thing here. So the first thing we want to do is go over to settings, because we need to define our audio devices and tell OBS like what audio devices to use with our computer. For the first thing I would do is go to audio over here and make sure this is at 48 kilohertz, and then make sure this is stereo. And then for desktop audio, we would select headphones virtual audio cable, because remember, that's the default. And then for desktop audio 2, because this is going to be our Discord audio, desktop audio 2 is going to be our Discord. So we'd select this, and then we go to the Voicemeeter VIO 3 input, because that would be our Discord audio. And then our microphone auxiliary audio is going to be microphone Voicemeeter, or the VB-audio Voicemeeter VIO 3. We would select that, and we can hit apply. And then what we would do next is we would go to output. And please, for the love of God, if you're going to do this, please set your output mode to advanced. And we would head over to recording, because streaming doesn't support multiple audio tracks, only recording does that. And it's best to do this with MP4. And then you see how it says audio track down here. We're going to select 2 and 3 because 1 is already selected. We can hit apply again, and then in this audio tab, we would, there's all these tracks that are here, and you can select the bitrate of each track. I personally prefer keeping them all at 160, but for track 1, track 2, and track 3, we're going to name these accordingly. But before we do that, we need to figure out which things are on, like which audio devices are on which track. So in the audio mixer that is down here by default, we could right click and then go to advanced audio properties, and it'll bring up this menu that's here, and it has the labels, if it's active, the volume, left or right balance, so which headphone speaker it'll be going into, the monitoring, and sync offset. So just for a base, I'm going to deselect all of these. So these are labeled accordingly. So what I would usually do is I'd put my microphone on the very first audio track, and then I'd put the, remember, because desktop audio 2 is the Discord audio, so I guess I'd put that on the second audio track, and then desktop audio, like the music that's playing right now, I would put that on the third audio track. And then we can hit close, and then we can go back. Since I remember which audio devices were which, I can go to output, and then I can go to audio, and then I can name these accordingly. So track 1 was my microphone audio, and then track 2 was my Discord audio, and then track 3 would be desktop audio. And then I would hit apply, and you don't have to name these if you don't want to, and you can just memorize like which track is which and which has like what sound on it. But I personally prefer naming these, because they become a lot more useful in editing. Okay, so with that stuff in mind, I'm going to do a test recording, and I'll see you guys after the test recording, and then I'll show you how the audio tracks are separate. Okay, so I just did the test recording. Now you're probably wondering how am I going to view these separate audio tracks without dropping it into some sort of editing program, and that's quite simple. So I'm going to go to File Explorer, and I'm going to find where the recording was, and it just happens to be in videos right here. So if I were to open this, it would open with movies and TV. Which movies and TV has the ability to view separate audio tracks. So in movies and TV, to view these separate audio tracks that exist within a recording, you would use the little like speech bubble down here. So show menu for subtitles and audio, you'd click on it, and look at this. These tracks are named and stuff. So remember when I said that the microphone for the Logitech webcam didn't sound that good? I was not kidding. So microphone audio is selected. Yeah, that's what the microphone audio sounds like. But if I were to go to Discord audio, if I were to restart it and play it again, hey everybody, it's me for the test recording. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, so you can hear myself through the Discord audio. Also, don't worry about it in just this example being not as high quality or the audio's lagging. It's only because I'm using this Oracle VirtualBox thingy, and it doesn't really have that many resources allocated to it compared to a regular computer. Like, for example, you see down here in the corner it says CPU. It's using 80% of the CPU just to do this recording, but if I were to pull over my OBS that I'm currently recording with, it's barely using like 2% of my CPU. So yeah, it's in like, you know, on top of that, it's got to like process everything that's going on, and it doesn't really have many resources to do so. Finally, if I were to go back and select the desktop audio, you should be able to hear the music. Let me pause the music. That's actually playing though, or mute it. And there you go. You can hear all the music that's going on. Please don't forget that when you are using separate audio tracks to stream, streaming services like Twitch and YouTube only use the first audio track that is selected. So if I were to go into advanced audio properties here, if I were using these exact settings for streaming, it would only use the first audio track, which would just happen to be my microphone, and the desktop audio too, which is the Discord, and then the regular desktop audio would not be in the stream. So please, if I were to do this, I would make sure that everything is on track number 1. And then if you were to be recording while streaming, I would start using like the other audio tracks like 2, 3, and 4. As well as all the first ones selected, you know, just so everything's on one track in this recording. And then you would, you know, have 2, 3, and 4, and then I would go to settings and then go to output, recording, and then select the 4th audio track and then hit apply. And then that's how I would stream and record at the same time with my audio setup. I'm going to do one more thing and before I end this tutorial, and I'm going to basically show you like the Spotify aspect of things and how to, like, if you wanted to listen to music but you didn't want your music to be in the recording, then this is how you do it. Because the way that Spotify works is that it automatically uses the default desktop device and doesn't have like an option in the settings. So if I were to go to like edit and then preferences over here, it doesn't show anything about like changing the audio device. So we're going to have to do this a bit differently. Okay, so now I'm playing music through Spotify, and if I were to open up OBS again, you would be able to see that the music is going through desktop device. And if I were to move this up here so you guys can see it, yeah, if I were to pause it, it would stop. But if I were to play it, it would go back up again because it's going through the default desktop device. So what we can do is we need to go to settings, and we can go to system, and then we can go to sound, and we can scroll all the way down, and we can go to advanced sound options. It would bring us to this menu, and it's the Windows 10 version. It's trying to basically outdate the control panel sound settings. But you see Spotify is here and it is playing music. So, and it says output. Remember that output is your headphones or your speakers or wherever your audio is going. So, and it says default here. But let's say I wanted Spotify to be here, so it'd also be separate from my Discord audio. So if I'm just gonna name this this middle panel Spotify audio, right? And it says Voicemeeter aux down here, like right below it. It's kind of small, but it says Voicemeeter aux. So I would go to settings and select the first drop down menu, and I would go and select Voicemeeter aux input, and I'd click on that, and it's going to change. It might just bug out for a second, but it's going back. Now we see that Spotify has its little label here, and it's playing music, and I can up the volume and stuff, and I can turn it down, and I can mute it, or I can make it go through my microphone if I really wanted to. So Spotify would be going through here as well as through its own thing. But you notice how, you know, the Spotify music is still playing here. But if we were to go to OBS, and you see that the Spotify music, it's playing and it's going, and you guys can probably hear it, but the OBS does not detect it because it's using a completely different device. Yeah, that's basically everything that I have for this tutorial, I guess. This is basically the way that I have my audio set up right here. Also, another thing I suggest is, like, you know, saving your settings for Voicemeeter. So the way you do that is go to menu, and then you'd go to save settings, and you can save your settings. So I usually save my stuff in like documents, so I just save it. And so now if I were to open up Voicemeeter and my settings were to get reset, then I could just easily load those settings and then it would work. But other than that, that is everything that I have to offer in this tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. My Discord tag and username and stuff is down there. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can add me on Discord and then we can figure it out together. Because I feel like everyone should be using Voicemeeter if they're streaming, like or if they record things regularly. It just makes like editing and stuff a whole lot easier, especially if you're sending your footage to someone. They can isolate specific audio tracks a lot easier if their editing program supports it. Like I know for a fact that Adobe Premiere supports separate audio tracks as well as Sony Vegas. So most editors will be able to find this very, very useful. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.